Hey, welcome to Babe Take a Seat. I'm your host, Jeanine, and I help women pivot with intention during life transitions like perimenopause, divorce, loss, and other life changes. I've always believed that the veil is thin, and when we really live, we flow between the physical and the non physical. We recognize and we acknowledge things like intuition and energy and this unspoken connection that we have with people around us. And to me, life is about relationships, people, connections, hearts, and souls, right? And it is about finding joy within the chaos because the chaos exists all around us and it doesn't wait for us. I believe that the mind, the body, and the soul are all parts of the whole, and the subconscious and the energetic bodies are access points to our souls, to ourselves. I don't feel that it's any secret that we consciously or subconsciously create these stories and we choose the stories that we want to live, and then we go ahead and we live them. I wanted to talk a little bit today about the stories that we choose. And I do dive into this a lot in my book, When Shit Goes Sideways. And I also often tell the story of the $500 popsicle. So today I'm going to share that story. So since 2006, the year that my first son, Max, was born and died, we've frequented the ER more times than I like to admit. My other son, who came two children after my son Max, was our frequent flyer. And not because that he is clumsier than his sisters. He's not. But because without even realizing it, our stories, my husband and I at the time, our stories changed after Max died. You know, life is fragile. Children die. And it's true. Children do die and life is fragile. But that's not the story that we needed to retell ourselves in a sheer panic every time our son's fever pushed 103 or if he complained about a mystery pain. We started to call ourselves the 3% family because it was in reference to the fact that we've been told many times on many occasions that the chances of our experiencing whatever medical anomaly we were experiencing was like 3%. This random allergic reaction or a combination of the number and types of his birthmarks, my older daughter's diaphragmatic hernia on her right side, and the umbilical cord tearing from the placenta, which is why Max passed away, were all remote chances. So when the doctor ever said to us, hey, there's a very small chance, we were like, yeah, that doesn't mean anything to us because we were primed for fear. That was part of our story. Many of our ER visits were probably necessary, but one specifically, or two that I can think of immediately, really could have been entirely avoided if our son hadn't been such a phenomenal actor. And he's like a skilled method actor, really. It's not that I'm saying that he faked it at all. I'm suggesting that he picked up the story that we were telling ourselves and he adopted it as his own because the stories that we tell and believe can be picked up and accepted by those around us. I'd love to say that again and hear that. The stories that we tell and we believe. I'm talking about stories about ourselves, these ingrained belief systems. The stories that we tell and believe are picked up and accepted by those around us. So one day my son was feverish and he was on the couch and my ex-husband, my husband at the time, he went to palpate his abdomen because that was like the first thing we always did. We were always checking for appendicitis. None of us had ever had appendicitis. I've never even known anyone that had appendicitis, but like that was somehow our first fear, probably because it's uncontrollable. It's inexplainable. It's, it can come on sudden. There's no necessarily any buildup for something like appendicitis, right? So I digress. He assesses for the possibility of acute appendicitis. And our son, he knew the drill. He knew exactly what we were checking for. And the moment my husband's hand pressed and released the lower right abdomen, our son like levitated off the couch screaming, "We caught it before it burst." My ex throws me my coat. I haul ass to the hospital. And within 90 minutes, we are checked in or checked out. And my son was enjoying a $500 popsicle as we walked back to the car. They sent us home with orders to see our primary care doctor in the morning. And the next day, our primary care performed similar tests and we got similar results. We headed back to the emergency room. "I think he may have appendicitis. You really don't want it to burst." "Well, no shit, I don't want it to burst." So I'm running to the hospital. I'm back in the car. We're parked at the ER. We're checked in. We're x-rayed. We're checked out. And another $500 popsicle. No appendicitis. And miraculously, as it always happens, within an hour after returning home from the hospital, his fever broke. So, but like, what are you going to do, right? As parents who have been to the worst places and lost a son, we get stuck in these old stories. you can forget about trying to change those when your kids are sick because you've got other people who are validating that. And of course, you have your reticular activating system, which is actually looking for proof of the stories that you're telling ourselves, right? So when the doctors are like, yeah, that might be something bad, it's like, holy, I was right. I was right. So, like $1,000 in popsicles aside, I would not have changed anything. Of course, we would check him out as, to be sure. But I really often wonder if we had a different story about little boys and hospitals, would we have triggered this chain of reactions and reactions? So, we do our best now to look through a different lens when it comes to determining emergencies. But I am sure if there's too much gray area, we would always err on the side of caution, right? So the stories that you tell yourself and believe shape your life, the choices that you make, and the opportunities that you see in front of you. And I'll also add, they shape the possibilities that you don't see that are in front of you. So when did we decide that these stories begin, right? Or when did these stories begin? Some of these stories are picked up at an early age, and a lot of them actually are created. Your belief systems are developed before the age of 8. But certainly, stories are picked up from the world around you. They're picked up by others. They're developed through your personal experiences, through your observations. And some of them, I really do believe that we bring into our lives. And we could talk a whole other episode about, generational traumas. But some of these belief systems are super deeply ingrained paradigms and opinions that we just simply accept as part of our identity. And they're often left unexamined. You don't know any other truth. Sometimes the belief systems are inherited from the families or from circles of friends. But it's time to observe these patterns so that you can begin to break those that don't serve you anymore. And I do work with my clients a lot on this. In fact, every client I'm working on with this, because everybody has stories that no longer serve. And oftentimes, let's not forget, when we developed these stories, they protected us. They served us in some way. When we focus on these old and outdated belief systems, they keep you anchored in the past. So I want you to tell better stories. Empower yourself to create a new map for your future. When you begin to broadcast that frequency, and now I'm getting into the energetic side because our thoughts and our emotions are all connected. They create neurochemical changes in our bodies, and they create the emotions that we emit and the frequencies that we emit, right? So when you begin to broadcast a new frequency that connects with the wholeness of the universe, the physical and the non-physical, the best mindset is fed by your soul. As you begin to tell yourself these better stories, I want you to cull them from yourself, from your deep roots of yourself, right? We live in a culture that teaches a story of separation and fear, and it is, I would say, it's worse than it's ever been. The media is highlighting those horrific stories to sell papers. Reality TV paints this faux picture of life. Everything's enhanced. So let's start, and I do want to mix a little bit of the physical, non-physical side here. So go with me here. Everything, if you stretched out your arms, if you're seeing this on YouTube, my arm is stretched out and my fingertips are turned up like in an L shape. And you kind of circle your body around yourself. Everything inside of your fingertips to your body is your theater. It's your aura, your main energetic system. And everything outside the edge of your fingertips is other people's theaters, right? And so as you walk through this lifetime, you're bumping into other people's energies and your theaters are overlapping. Staying within your own energetic system and operating from this point of view is living your true perspective. Staying in this vantage point from the inside out is where you begin to live your truths, where you're guided by your intuition and your higher self. If you're choosing to operate at the edge of that energetic field, at the edge of your aura, you're receiving everything that's out there, and everything out there begins to dictate your thoughts and feelings. So shifting your mindset by visualizing better stories has to come from this centered place of self, or you end up following other people's paths. So in other words, when you live in this space and not at the edge of your aura, when you live in this centered space and you're not at the edge of the aura, which is really influenced by other people's realities, you're grounded and you're rooted. And then you begin to perceive your world through your own lens, through your own perspective. It doesn't mean that you're isolated from other people or for the rules of society at large, right? We're all part of a community. It just means that you're driving your life from choices from within. And you're driving the big and the little choices with the intention of living your chosen reality. It becomes the makeup of all of the big and the little movements that create your path. And that's when you're living from the inside out. You are your thoughts, and your thoughts are your truth. It's another one I want to repeat. You are your thoughts, and your thoughts are your truth. So memories of the past or images of the future, they can either lift you up or they can take you down. But what many people fail to recognize is that they really do have the power to choose, and they have the power to change. The intention of your thoughts affects your energy, and that creates your reality. You're not a static system. I talk about this a lot. We are continuously flowing energy, and within every thought and emotion, that energy is being shaped both consciously and unconsciously. And the electrical charges of thought are fired by your brain, and they are steeped in your true intentions. And it's that intention that shapes your world. So I ask you, how do you choose to mold it? First, you have to understand what your stories are, and then you can work to change them. All identifying these stories and working to shift them is the way you will remap your future. Your conscious mind is only running 3 to 5% of your choices, and your choices are all emotionally based. That's a proven scientifically proven. Your subconscious and unconscious mind are driving 95 to 97% of your choices. So if you find yourself continuing to select or choose the same type of partner or friendships, or if you find yourself having trouble trusting yourself, questioning yourself, doubting yourself, if you find that you're repeating these same lessons in life, there's a reason, and it can be identified and it can be shifted. One of the easiest ways to start recalibrating is through journaling. And if you'd like some help with that, I have a 30-day guide to gratitude and shifted attitude. It's called Recalibrate. It's a 30-day guided journal, which includes a QR code to access guided meditations. This is full of nightly prompts and daily setups, as well as journal prompts. And it's a great way to start to shift and recalibrate your system. If you like this sort of work, you're going to love Align Academy. This is my program, and it was developed to help you pivot with intention after life transitions and change, and to write a blueprint for your next steps that is rooted in your core truths and gets you where you want to go. Align Academy is based on my 4 core principles: recalibrate, reignite, reclaim, and realign. Get on the wait list for the next cohort. You can jump to my website, JeanineTripodi.com/Align Academy, and get on that wait list. You can also get my book, When Shit Goes Sideways, which is available on Amazon and in local bookstores, and the journal, Recalibrate, a 30-day guided journal with meditations to activate your subconscious and to elevate your vibration. Ask any questions in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining. Hey, thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed it, and you'll join us again next time. You can reach my guests through the links in the comments below, and you can always find me at JeanineTripodi.com. on Instagram as Jeanine Tripodi, and on Facebook and YouTube as Jeanine Tripodi Coaching. If you prefer to watch this video, jump on that YouTube channel, Jeanine Tripodi Coaching. Have a great day.